Hi, I'm Kate Noble. I'm here at Shine Yoga Center in Cincinnati, and you are tuning into a prenatal yoga practice. So I've been teaching prenatal yoga here at Shine for about 17 years, and when I'm teaching a prenatal class, I have two predominant goals in mind, and the first is to help provide comfort in what can be, a quite uncomfortable time of your life. So of course it's beautiful and miraculous and amazing, but it's challenging as well. So my prenatal classes tend to be very nurturing. Sometimes there's some exercise movements that we might do to just kind of get energy moving, and that might feel a little more invigorating, but you've tuned into one that's going to be very gentle, a lot of grounded work close to the floor. You're going to want to make sure that you're comfortable on hands and knees for this practice, because we'll do a lot of work on hands and knees, which is helpful for your body, but also to get your body ready for your baby's delivery. So that's the second part of my primary focus, is to prepare women, first of all, to empower them in their pregnancies, and then to prepare them for baby's birth. So today's practice is quite nurturing in nature, as well as helping get your body ready for delivery. So there is another prenatal yoga video that I have up on our Shine Yoga Collective YouTube channel right now. And that one is a little more invigorating. So it's upright if you've been feeling sluggish. It's a good way to get your energy moving and flowing. So, all right, so today, as we prepare for this practice, I want to remind you that nothing should ever hurt. You never want to feel any sharp shooting pains anywhere in your body, not in your joints, and particularly not in your pelvis or in your belly. And you always want to make sure that you have a good regulation of breath and heartbeat. So you should never feel lightheaded or dizzy. And if you feel those, just stop for a minute, make sure that goes away, and then know that that activity might be bothersome for you at this time. You can modify or just skip it. And if any pain persists, any shortness of breath, any dizziness, make sure you check in with a medical provider to make sure that you're good and okay. All right, so as I said, for today's practice is a lot of groundwork. I'm sitting on a blanket. I would encourage you to have a blanket or a big beach towel or something like that to use for padding your knees. And then there is some exercises where you might want a strap, but at home you could just use a belt or a tie or something similar to that. And then there is one exercise where a block or a step stool might be helpful for you, but not necessary. So if you want to pause and grab those things and come back and join us. And then we're going to begin this practice sitting. So we'll do a short sitting meditation. I'm going to turn around actually and show you my setup. So for most of us, when we sit cross-legged, that we kind of have this little scoop back, and that can be because our hips are tight, but it can also be because of just this core balance in the core. So in general, sitting up on a little bit of height, I have a significant amount right now. It just feels comfier some days. So have enough height. I'm gonna go minimal for me. Have enough height that you put right underneath your sitting bone. So it's not underneath your whole seat, it's just a little ledge. And then you put your sitting bones right on the edge of the ledge. And what we want to have happen is that your pelvis will tilt just the tiniest bit forward, so you have a lumbar curve and concave rather than convex, right? And then ideally, when you're sitting, and this goes for every body and every place, ideally when you're sitting, you want your hip points, so the top of your hip bone, which is up here, at the same level or higher than your knees. So if you're sitting and your knees are high, you've got a lot of tightness in here in the front of the groin and belly region. That makes breathing more challenging, and it can also strain your back. So sit up with enough height that you get that little bit of a tilt of your pelvis forward, that you feel like your back then gently curves in and up, that maybe your knees flow out and down. And once you feel comfortable, go ahead and close your eyes. And you can place your hands wherever it feels nice for you at this time. So it can be simply hands resting on your thighs or lower knees, But maybe you do want to check in with your baby. You could put a hand on your belly close to your baby and a hand on your heart. Alternatively, our kind of classic beginning hand gesture is with the palms touching, fingers spread wide. This is called Anjali Mudra. And it is a hand gesture that invites us to remember what is good in our lives at this time. It invites us to be thankful, to have a sense of gratitude. So I would encourage you to take a moment to open your mind up to acknowledging that which is good in your life at this time, that which you want to affirm, that which you're thankful for, that which you would like to invite more of. But also now to take a moment to really honor how you are authentically. Are you dealing with challenges right now? And allowing yourself a moment just to be with those feelings without feeling like you have to be different or other or better. That we will work on that in this practice, but for a moment that we just let ourselves be perfectly as we are and allow there to be acknowledgement of how that is. So encouraging a sense of settling. One of the big themes in general of many of the different forms and styles of yoga, practice, and philosophy is that we're acknowledging this spectrum of possibility, the spectrum that exists on earth, this dynamic balance between challenges and blessings. And so for today's practice, I'll invite you just to think about honoring both and thinking about keeping your perspective in balance and empowering yourself in your challenges by remembering the inner qualities that you have that you can tap into that help you move through those challenges and allow you to enjoy the blessings. So again, we're beginning in this place of presence and truth and authenticity. We're honoring the challenges, but now we're also tapping into those inner qualities that we can actually cultivate. We can pull them up from inside to help us not just handle, but really thrive even in challenging times. I like to begin practices with some deep breaths or an om. And so I'm gonna om, and if you're comfortable to do so, you can om at home. And if you're not comfortable to let the sound come out, just take a deep breath in, and when you breathe out through your mouth and let your breath whisper as you breathe out. So if we're oming, we'll start that together. We're gonna breathe first out through your nose, back in through your nose. Return to your breath, in and out through the nose. And then just very gently bow your head down in the direction of your heart and in the direction of your baby. And just take a moment to honor your inner body, your own heart, and to honor your baby, the energy of your baby's heart. And then allow your eyes to gently open back up. And just roll your wrists a little bit and wiggle your fingers. And know that the next place that we're coming is hands and knees. So make sure your wrists and hands feel ready for that. And then you can roll your shoulders a little bit. I like to go mostly from front, up, and back and down. Our shoulders already do a lot of internal rotation throughout the day, so getting them to externally rotate. And then just move your head back however feels best for you. Just nice and gentle. Not really to stretch it. Stretching is left once you're kind of warmed up. So just a little gentle awareness movement. Okay, then we're gonna come to hands and knees. So this is where I would encourage you to get a blanket or towel to kneel on, because we'll, like I said, we'll be on the knees a good amount of time. And we're gonna come into child's pose. And in my prenatal classes, I use 3 different versions of this classic pose. Before I get settled into it, I want to, again, remind you that nothing should hurt. So if you have any knee issues, if kneeling is hard for you, you can just sit for this first part. And if you're kind of halfway there, where like I can kneel, but it's a little stiff, you can take your blanket and put it between your hips and heels, and that'll just give you a little bit of ease in your hips and knees. Okay, so I don't need the blanket for this part. Your choices for child's pose, for all three of them, we're gonna have our big toes together and our knees wide apart to start. I call this one the mama tiger pose. I could just kind of imagine a mama tiger at the ready and strong and powerful, but also, you know, peaceful in that place of waiting, and she knows the right moment to pounce. So for this one, this is helpful for digestive issues. It is a form of a squat. When you squat, the base of your pelvis widens and your internal organs can soften down a little bit. So you might use this if you're having heartburn or any other digestive issues. The next version is classic child's pose. So you just cross your arms and let your head rest down. So if you're looking to release tension and that feels comfortable, that's a good place just to kind of have a little retreat, a little cocoon pose. And then this is called knee chest position. Now for knee chest position, your knees come together, your hips are up, you're on your forearms, and your head rests down if that's comfortable for you. That one is good for any of the swelling issues. So there's a lot of things that are in that swelling issue category. And that includes like carpal tunnel syndrome, it includes varicose veins, it even includes hemorrhoids. So you just have a lot more water volume in your body throughout your pregnancy and kind of everything's pushing outward. So you can come into that position. Now with your head down, if you feel dizzy, lightheaded, come back to one of the other ones. So in this moment, you're choosing either mama tiger, classic child's, or knee chest. And we're gonna hang out here for a couple more breaths. And I wanna invite you to close your eyes and focus more inward. One of the things that I found most challenging in my deliveries is just the time that it takes, this time that you have to be patient, this time that you have to wait, that you're really not in control of things. So allowing yourself some time to practice before your baby's birth, just be okay in that waiting space, to be still, to be quiet, to let go of the need to control and acknowledge every single aspect of every single situation. Just practicing release here. We'll just take a couple more good full deep breaths in and out. Okay, good. And then come on up, and we're gonna come back to all fours, hands and knees, and I am gonna go ahead and put my padding down for my knees. Stretch your right leg straight back with your toes tucked under. Squeeze the front of your thigh, that's your quadricep. Squeeze your thigh, make your knee very straight. With your toes still on the ground, press back through your heel. So you get a nice gentle calf, Achilles stretch. You also get a little bit of hamstring lengthening by squeezing the knee real tight. It's not a stretch per se, but it is to release tension in the hamstring. Now you're going to take your right foot behind the left leg and press your hips gently to your right. Take a good deep breath there and think about opening up your right side waist. Good, and then change sides. Right knee comes in, stretch your left leg back. Squeeze your quad so the knee gets real straight. Give your baby a gentle belly hug so you have a little bit of abdominal tone, and then press back through your heel. Again, find your breath. And allow yourself to have this time where you can really be okay with the kind of stiller, quieter positions and states of mind. And then take the left foot behind the right and press your hips to the left. Take a good, full, deep breath in and out, stretching that left side waist. Good, and then come back to the middle. Okay, we're coming to puppy next. So for puppy, you're gonna reach your arms forward out in front of you. This is a little bit of an awkward pose because it is right in between strength and stretch. So it's not one or the other, but those components are working together. If you can, come to spider hands, where it's just the very tips of your fingers down, your palms up, your wrists up, your armpits also up. So the strength part is in your arms, lifting up, not pressing down. So armpits lift up, then stretch your hips back. So your spine gets long. And now think of the difference between stretch and relax. They're different. So stretch is an active, whether you're using some active force to lengthen, and then relax is that you're just softening. So your arms are going to hold you up because of their strength. Your hips are stretching back. Now try to soften your heart. So if you watch close, the difference is I can stretch down, I'm pushing down. In this case, I'm lifting up and relaxing chest and shoulders. Bring your hands flat and then walk your hands to your right. Press your left hip back. And again, think about opening up the left side waist, crescent stretch for your side body. Walk your hands to the left. And press your right hip back. Big deep breath into your ribs, into the soft space between your hip and your rib. And come back to the middle. Now tuck your toes under and then just walk your hands backward to press yourself up to standing. Bring your feet right underneath the middle of your hips. So this is my outer hip. So this would be feet outer hip distance apart. Inner hip distance apart, your leg bones stack. They go fairly straight up and down. And then take a breath in, reach your arms up overhead, turn your palms out, press your arms out and away. A few times like this, inhaling, breathing in and up, and then exhale, stretch, press. Let there be a little bit of power as you push out and away. Inhale, receiving, and exhale, giving back. Let's do that one more time. Let your head go up and down as your arms go up and down. As your hands come down this time, keep them down. Give your shoulders a good roll backward. And then just move your head, neck, however feels best for you. Okay, normally in my prenatal classes, we do a lot of squatting to prepare for childbirth. That's in that other video I was telling you about. So there's the other video with the more standing postures, and that's called prenatal rebalance and refresh, I think. We're gonna do just a little bit of squatting here, but mostly to work on our kegels in squatting. So for this one, we're gonna take the feet wider than hip distance apart, but now turn your big toes in just a little bit so it's your second toe that points more straight forward. Just that you're not in external rotation, that you have more of a neutral, even a little bit inner rotation of your feet. Not too much, just a tiny little bit. And then you're gonna hip hinge, which means you're hinging from your hips. Remember, your hip is actually on the side, not back here. So sit from your hips and then bring your hands to your low mid thighs. Let your hips move back so you feel your weight over your ankles, not over your toes so much. Let your eyes look at the floor and connect to your breath. Now, in kegling, it's important that we can relax the pelvic floor muscles and tone them. So we want to work on both phases. So with your breath in, really try to relax your pelvic floor, your butt, and your belly. And then when you exhale, you're pulling your tailbone forward towards your pubic bones. So we're gonna breathe in, we're gonna really try to relax. And then with your exhale, you're gonna try to pull the tip of the tailbone forward, the pelvic floor tones. Do that a few times. And try to be sure that you're working the pelvic floor muscles in isolation so that you're not squeezing your butt or your belly to make it feel like you can squeeze the pelvic floor more. That you're really just working those small pelvic floor muscles. It's a small muscle, so it's a small action. Okay, good. Come up standing tall, stretch your arms up overhead, turn your palms out and press them out and away. One more time for the shoulders, roll them up and back, and then head and neck just moves however feels good for you. That you can use movement to align and rebalance your body, but you can also use movement to become more self-aware of how you're doing in your body. All right, now we're taking goddess squat. So we're turning our feet, we're stepping pretty wide and turning our feet outward, and then you're gonna squat down. So make sure now that your knees are going directly over your ankles and over the middle toes. So not past the big toe and not out past the pinky toe, but you have this alignment of hip, knee, ankle, toes. Take a good deep breath here, and then stand tall. Breathe in, reach your arms up. Exhale, bring your hands together in front of your heart, squat down. Now, if it feels okay for you, you're gonna bring your hands to the floor for forward fold. If that doesn't feel good, just come back here and you can work Kegels. As we fold forward, especially as your blood volume increases as you move through your pregnancy, you might feel a little dizzy, lightheaded if you fold forward. So make sure that you don't have that too significantly. If you feel it a lot, you lift your head up just like this. All right, we're gonna take a break. I don't wanna keep you down there too long. Inhale, stand up, sweep your arms up overhead. Exhale, squat down and through. Now you're coming to this upright form, this half fold form, or if it would feel good in your body, you're gonna now turn your feet forward so they're parallel. You wanna try to keep your low back long and forward. Maybe stretch your legs straight. Maybe hip hinge from your hip, not from your lower back, and fold down. Take a couple of breaths. So now again, this forward fold is gonna affect your circulatory system, and it can have positives, which can make you feel refreshed and actually can sometimes help with excessive swelling. But it also has the negative where you might feel dizzy, lightheaded, or change your blood pressure, and that can be uncomfortable or unsafe. So make sure you're taking good care of yourself in this choice. If you fold it all the way down, bend your knees a little bit, and then inhale, come all the way up, standing tall, and just gently walk your feet back towards each other. Again, bring your hips right underneath the middle, or bring your feet right underneath the middle of your hips. Inhale, sweep your arms up, interlace your fingers and press your palms back to the sky. As you reach your arms up, notice how much you pushed your hips and belly forward over your toes. And if it's a lot, hug them back, and then just a couple times rock side to side. Now raising your arms over your head can also raise your blood pressure. So if you feel dizzy, lightheaded, if your eyes start to feel hot, that kind of thing, just keep your arms down and you can just lean side to side, or you might do one arm at a time instead of both arms. Good. Everyone take both arms up overhead, turn your palms out, press them out and away. All right, we're coming back to all fours, hands and knees. And we're gonna do a few rounds of cat-cow, arching and rounding. So your knees are directly underneath your hips and your hands are right underneath your shoulders, or they can go a little more forward if that's more comfortable for you. Take a breath in, stretch your spine long, reach your heart forward and your hips back, and then let your belly and your baby soften down towards the floor. Pull your shoulder blades together on your back. Make sure that the weight of your belly is not causing any strain in your lower back. And if it is, give your baby a little belly hug. Then with your exhale, hug your belly back, let your spine round, think about your shoulder blades widening, tuck your chin to your chest so that you're rounding. And now at your own pace, just move back and forth between those two postures. See if you can sync up your breath and the movement. So you can do that however you like. The way I like to do it is I like to inhale as I'm moving and then exhale and hold the posture with that exhale, and then inhale and move and exhale, hold. Now, what is not so common, but it can happen, is that you can have this your pubic symphysis can have a little bit of dysfunction where you have pain right in your pubic bones. If you have that and this hurts, make sure that you just skip this one and you can go back to like the Kegels that we did with your feet narrow, and you would want to limit the wide-legged work, so keep your feet more narrow if you're having that pubic symphysis issue. Okay, we're gonna return to a child's pose, so you can pick the one you like the best, but it might also be that you play with all three. And if you're not using an epidural, or even if you're gonna use an epidural before you get an epidural, all three of those child's poses can be used in delivery. So you could use them before your epidural, and then again, if you don't have an epidural, you might even deliver in one of those positions. So practicing those positions to help get your body ready by opening the pelvis up, but also to know that you can use them in the delivery room. All right, we're just gonna take a quiet moment. I'm gonna try to be quiet for 30 seconds. Connect to your breath. Encourage ease. Practice stillness. All right, we're gonna come out of that and move on. This is one of the postures where you might want to block. If you don't have a block, you could use your couch or chair if you've got one nearby. We're gonna take, let me turn this way, and then we're gonna take the right foot forward. And you can have your hands on the block if that feels better in your body. If you don't need the block, you're gonna come upright with your hands on your hips. And you wanna try to get them squared off. So if you look at my hips right now, they're diagonal. So the left hip is back and the right hip is forward. That's normal, kind of normal, that the front leg hip will be up and further forward. So you're gonna try to pull it back and down. Now, if your back went into a big arch to make that happen, notice that happened and see if you can straighten out your spine a little bit. You do that with a Kegel. The tailbone anchors down, and then give your baby a little belly hug and lift up through your spine. If it feels okay for you, stretch your arms overhead. And then you have the options to bring your hands back to your hips and hinge a little more forward. Just make sure you don't lose your squared off hips. So this becomes a pelvic stability exercise to help you support the weight of your baby. You really don't need pelvic flexibility during pregnancy. You just want to stretch the muscles enough that they're relaxed, and then we're working stability so that you can support the weight and the laxity that comes to your body because of the elastin hormone. Okay, good. Come on up, and we're just going to turn around other side. So your left foot is your forward foot. Bring your hands to your hips. Square them off, unless it felt better for you to keep your hands down low. Totally fine just to do that version the whole way through. With your hips square, try to lengthen your spine. Tailbone down with the Kegel. Belly hug helps you extend energy up through your heart, through the crown of your head. Stretch your arms overhead, only if that feels good. And then bring your hands to your hips and hinge forward if that feels good in your body. And again, you're working more on stability, keeping your hips square, and less on flexibility. So you're hugging in to make your body strong and supportive for your back, for your pelvis, and for your baby. Good, come on out of that, and we're gonna take puppy pose. Arms reaching forward, hips back. Take a couple breaths there. Now, if you're a yoga practitioner and you love downward dog, you could catch a down dog here. Down dog is considered an inversion, and so there is a little bit of controversy over whether that's a good pose to do in yoga practices. So for the most part, I skip down dog in my classes, but if you're, like I said, if you're a down dog lover and it feels great, you can catch one here. Okay, we're gonna come up now to kneeling, and you're gonna take, I'm just gonna see how I wanna position myself. I'm gonna mirror you now, so I'll be working the opposite leg, but when you look at me, it'll look the same. So you're gonna take your right leg out to the right, and I'm taking my left, but it looks like right. And we're just gonna hold here to get a very gentle inner thigh stretch. So remember what I just talked about. We don't want to encourage flexibility during pregnancy. You want to encourage relaxation and muscle balance and release, but the muscles are already softening because of the hormones. So you want to think about just stretching just enough so it feels good, not to gain flexibility. So gentle release through your right inner thigh. You can stay up on your hands, you can come down to your elbows, and you can play with moving your hips forward and back, just real gentle, to find the sweet spot. You know, where does it feel really nice in your body? Now we're gonna come back up onto the hands, walk your right foot in just a little bit, and you're gonna walk your hands around to the left. And this is, again, one of those poses where a little bit of height underneath your left hand might feel good in your body. So you could, if you're near a couch or chair, you could put your elbow up on it if this feels like too much. I have shortish arms for body proportions, so I come up onto kind of this ridge top where you're on just your fingers. So just make sure you're pretty comfortable in this position, and this allows us to stretch the right side body. So you can hold here, stretch your right arm up to the sky if that feels good for you. You can turn your palm towards the crown of your head and stretch it alongside your ear to enhance that stretch. And if you are a previous yoga practitioner and you're missing back bends, you can get a little bit of upper back bend here. So you're gonna give your baby a good belly hug, put your hand behind your head, and then turn your heart chest open to the sky. Take a good deep breath there. And then walk your hands back around to the front. Come upright. Turn your right toes outward now. And if you have to choose between your leg being straight or your toes down, just pick whichever one feels better, knowing that we're looking for a right leg inner thigh stretch to start. And then we're gonna stretch the left arm up and over, and you're leaning. So you get a left side waist stretch there. Good full deep breaths. So you're leaning to your right, just enough to feel a good gentle stretch in your left side body, and also maybe an inner thigh stretch. Good, come on up, and let's take that whole series on the other side. So now you're kneeling on your right knee, you're taking your left leg to the left, and you're letting it slide or walk out only as far as it's a very gentle stretch. And then here, if you're able to, without tension or discomfort, relax your belly, your butt, your pelvic floor. If you have a really heavy baby right now or your uterus is full, you might need to keep a little belly tone to keep yourself feeling good and supported. So you choose. And then again, you can be on hands or you can come to elbows. And then you can hinge forward and back as much as that feels good. And less than kind of moving the whole time through. You're just looking for the spot that feels like a really nice release, where you can deepen your breath and your body lets go of tension. And then we're coming back up onto the hands. Walk your foot in just a little bit more so you've got that added stability, and walk your hands around to your right. Your right hand lines up in alongside the right knee, and you can be on the ground or bring your arm up to elevation. Stretch the left arm to the ceiling. Take a couple breaths in this first form. So before we take the arm overhead, we're keeping it straight up. And here, think about width across your chest and between your shoulder blades. And then we'll add on, turn the palm towards the crown of your head, arm stretches alongside your ear. Find your breath. And only if it would feel great, put your hand behind your head and arc back through your upper back. But give your baby that good belly hug so you're not arching through your lower back. So we're creating stability in the low back and the pelvis, and mobility in the heart center. Deep breath here. Good, walk your hands back around. And return to any downward facing position. So the downward facing positions that we've done are all three of those child's pose variations. You had table pose, which is for cat-cow, puppy pose, and downward facing dog. Now, if you want to know more about positioning for labor, for birth, so positions that you use during your pregnancy and in your delivery to ease delivery, you can check out spinningbabies.net. And they're a group, they started with a group of midwives who noticed that when mothers used certain positions in pregnancy, their babies ended up in positions that then those women had easier deliveries. So the big thing that most of us all know about is we want the baby's back to be resting towards our belly. So that generally is an easier position for babies to be born from. So you want to think about leaning forward. That's why we have so much of this forward leaning work in this practice and in my normal prenatal classes. So resisting the urge to recline back and instead leaning forward or laying on left side, as we're encouraged by our medical professionals as well. All right, one more breath here. And now we're gonna come up and do a few rounds of sitting poses. So you're gonna probably wanna sit on your blanket, and you're probably gonna want a strap or a belt or tie. You won't need it, but it can just make things a little more comfortable. All right, so we're sitting up and we're gonna take butterfly pose first. So bring the soles of your feet together. Don't worry in this one about how high your knees are. We're not trying to get them down to the ground. We will encourage length out from the pelvis through the knees. So that's really where we're focusing on energy moving outward. Bring your hands behind your body with your fingers pointing away from you. Press down through your hands and lift up through your chest. Take a good giant heart breath, really nourishing breath in and full breath out. Squeeze your shoulder blades behind you and think about just kind of hugging on the back of your heart. So that as your heart feels that source of support, it can rest and even shine a little brighter. Now come upright, and since we can't be doing crunches during pregnancy, just sitting upright is a great full core work. So it's going to strengthen your abdominals, your back, your side waist muscles. And then if you add stretching your arms straight overhead without collapsing, this will strengthen your upper back as well. And that's helpful for the baby carrying and holding that's coming. All right, so stretching nice and tall. And then choose comfort. So if folding forward is not comfortable, just lean back. And if folding forward is comfortable, let yourself do that, but try to keep a long spine and think about keeping your heart lifting up away from your baby so you're not pushing your upper body weight down on your baby. So you've got a big lift. Couple breaths here. Good, come up, and I'm gonna mirror you again. So you're gonna take your right leg out to the right, and your left leg is folded in. And it's that same sequence to tilt the top of the pelvis the tiniest bit forward so you can get your spine to lift up instead of to be scrunched down. So put your hands behind you, lift up through your chest, and press down through your legs. Make the leg muscles strong. Think back to the beginning where we squeezed our quad. Do that here. That'll help you lengthen your hamstring. Stretch your arms up over your head. And then again, you can choose hands behind you, you lean back, or you can hinge forward, fold. Think about using your arms like kickstands so that you just stretch your arms straight and strong and you let your upper body lean into your arms. Deep breath, full breath in. Complete breath out. And then we're gonna come take a side bend. So you can just put your right elbow on your right thigh and stretch your left arm up to the ceiling. Now, if you have a traditional yoga strap that you can create a little loop in the end, or if you have something that's long enough that you can put it around your foot and also stretch your arm over your head, that can feel real nice. So in this case, instead of having the elbow on the thigh, you put your hand behind you, you stretch your arm up, and then you press down through your hips and lift up through your heart. Good, come upright. Take your strap or loop around your foot if you're working with one. If you're not working with one, just put your right hand behind your right leg and your left hand in front of you so your hands kind of straddle your leg. And then we're not gonna go over the leg because you'll likely run out of belly room real quick. You're just gonna go at an angle forward. So you can again be holding on to the strap to help you pull forward a little bit, or just use your arms like kickstands and you're stretching your heart forward. So you're getting a nice stretch to the back of the right leg and in the right inner thigh. Okay, come up and switch sides. Right leg folding in, left leg stretching out. Squeeze the leg real strong. Hands behind you, lift up through your heart. Stretch your arms to the ceiling. And then you go back to reclining or hinge forward. And again, don't worry about how close to the ground you're getting. That really has no importance. What we want is that we feel strong through the foundation of the lower half of the body, and that you have a nice lift through your spine. You know that back discomfort is one of the biggest discomforts in pregnancy, so we don't want to exacerbate that. And you also want to make sure that your baby's got plenty of good room for circulation. All right, so now we're coming up to take the side bend, left elbow to left thigh, and the right arm can just simply stretch up and over your head. And you can hold there. Or if you've got a strap that allows you to have that reach from foot to hand, then you can reach the right arm up over your head. The left hand comes behind you, and you get a big side stretch, but you also get a little bit of a healthy back bend here. Full deep breath. Make sure you're breathing through your chest all the way in, all the way out. Release your hands down, and you're going to either hold onto your strap around your foot or your hands straddle your leg. Lift up through your chest and just twist a little bit through the upper body and hinge forward. Here, see if you can have a sense of breathing into your back body. Breathe into the back of your lungs and all the way down into that soft space between the back of your ribs and the back of your pelvis. Good. We're coming upright. We're finished with that strap. We're going to take cross-legged. Take your right leg in front of your left. And you're going to lean to your right. So your right hand will come to the ground, left arm reaches up and over, and let your head hang down over your shoulder. And then maybe bring your left hand down towards the ground, and that's going to really exaggerate the stretch in the left side of your neck. Big chest, heart breath. And then come upright. Now, we're going to do a little twist, but twisting is one of the poses that we want to be real careful of during pregnancy. So laying on your back, careful. Twisting, careful, and inversions. Those are the places you want to be most careful, as well as making sure you have good pelvic stability. So like pigeon pose is I feel like a risky pose during pregnancy unless you can keep good stability in your pelvis. So you're going to twist just real gently through your upper half of your body. Your right hand comes behind you. Your left arm can come across. Give your baby a good belly squeeze. Lift up through your heart so your spine is long. There's space between all the vertebrae. And then turn your head. Look over your right shoulder. Squeeze the back of your right shoulder blade. Good. Come back to the center. Bring your hands behind your head. Press the bottom of your skull backward into your hands and think about lifting it up. So your head is going back and up. Then your chin is going to come down like you're giving yourself multiple chins. You don't want to drop it forward. So we're just trying to get the back of the neck to get its full length while we keep the thoracic spine long so that we're not collapsed. So long and strong. Good. Release that and just move your head however feels best for you. And then switch your legs. You're leaning to your left hand down, right arm up. Take a deep breath. Let your head hang down to the left shoulder if that feels okay in your body. If it feels okay in your body, reach your right arm down and away from you, exaggerating the side neck stretch. Relax your jaw. Relax your cheeks, your tongue, your eyes, your temples. Good. Come up. Twist. So you're leaning back a little bit. You're making sure you get that good length in your lumbar spine. And the twist is focused in the upper half of the body. Deep heart breath. Just turn your head. Good. Release. Bring your hands behind your head. Same thing. Push the bottom of your skull back and up, but now lift your chin up. So now you're working on thoracic spine length as well as neck length so you don't collapse. I'm going to keep everything long and open. And then release your hands, and one last time, just move your head in the way that feels best for you. Okay, so we're beginning to transition to the ground for a few postures, and then we're gonna come into relaxation. So you may want your blanket, block, and strap for these later. So position them so that they're nearby where you can grab them when we need them, but make sure they're not in your way for right now. In yoga practice, many of the postures are named after the deities, gods and goddesses. And this next one is for Lakshmi. So this Lakshmi is this beautiful goddess full of abundance, goddess of abundance. And this is her posture. So you're gonna sit like you're sitting for a sitting squat. You might be in this position when it comes time to deliver your baby if you have an epidural. So your feet are wider than hip distance apart and the knees are open. And then we're just gonna nice and gently rock your legs side to side. Think about getting your thigh bone to kind of roll in your hip socket. You know, a lot of us will get that side sleep discomfort. So just kind of think about kind of massaging in your hip socket with this movement. And then let your knees come to the right. And your legs are in this cross position, the solar cross. So 90 degrees in knees and hips. The bottom leg is forward, the top leg is back. And then come down to your right elbow and stretch your left arm up and over. So again, another big side body stretch. A lot of the side body work is to help you breathe better. You know that we get a lot of compression through pregnancy, so this helps open it all up. If you're feeling fatigued, sometimes just some breath work and gentle stretches can really help. You're gonna come lay all the way down on your right side, and you can let your head rest on your arm, or you can cradle it, whichever you prefer. You're gonna pull your top knee in forward towards you and reach down for your shin or your ankle. If that's a hard reach, you can grab your pant leg, you can use a strap. Now I want you to give your baby a really big hug in so that when we do this exercise, your back does not arch. So you got strength here, stability in belly and pelvis, and then you're stretching the knee away from you. Take a good deep breath. So you may not feel a giant stretch, but as long as you feel resistance, then you're lengthening the muscles that we're working on lengthening, which is the psoas deep in the groin as well as your quad. Now bring your knee into your chest, hold onto the back of your knee and stretch your leg up. This is where you could use that strap if you prefer, and just point and flex your foot, circle, ankle, wiggle toes. Legs up like this can help you if you're having a lot of swelling issues. So you might spend some time with your leg extended up. It can be calming for the body and the nervous system as well. So if you're having a hard time sleeping, maybe just check this pose out. All right, now you're gonna stack your knees. Hips and knees are stacked. Slide your bottom elbow a little forward. Bring your top hand behind your head, and then you're gonna lay your head towards the ground and maybe twist. So you wanna make sure that you don't feel any pressure in your solar plexus when you do this posture. So if you do, you're gonna stay facing more forward. You're only twisting as much as it really feels nice in your body. Take a couple of breaths here. Good. Come back onto your right side, press up to your right elbow, and then up onto your right hand. I said that wrong. It's your left. It's your left. So you take your bottom hand a little more forward. No, it's your right. Sorry, sometimes right and left gets a little tricky, especially when I can't watch real people, so I apologize for that. I'll just say top and bottom now. Let your bottom hip sink down, the bottom side waist sink down. This bottom elbow can bend a little bit. It's fine if your shoulder hikes up. You're just looking to stretch the underside of your body. Alternatively, you can take this free hand and hold onto your shin and stretch the bottom hand up to get this side body stretch. So just whichever one feels better. This is more challenging, that one's more gentle generally. Good. Bring your hand to the ground and you're gonna swing around to the other side. We're taking the left leg forward and the right leg back for Lakshmi's cross pose. Coming down onto your left elbow and stretching the top arm up and over. Big side body stretch there. We're moving towards relaxation now, so just letting your breath slow down a little bit. Again, coming to that place of practicing peacefulness, quietude, easiness, non-action. Lay down on your left side. Your head can rest on your arm, or you can cradle it. Bend your right knee forward, hold on to shin or ankle, keep the belly strong, and then press your knee away from you. Let's take a couple of breaths here. Again, working on strength and stability through the pelvis, and then lengthening the muscles that live deep inside the body. So your psoas connects your upper inner leg to your lower back. So I'm going to try not to let the back arch there. And then bring the knee into your chest and stretch your leg up. And you can point and flex. Again, you can use a strap there if you prefer. And then bring the knees to stack. Your knees are both bent and they're forward in front of you. Slide your bottom elbow a little forward. Bring your top hand behind your head. First thing is that you're just working to lay your head back. And then second possibility is that you twist very gently open. And again, you're thinking about keeping the lower half of your body stable. So your hips stacked straight up on top of each other, the spine long, and your twist is happening through your upper body. Good, deep breath here. And then come back onto your side. Move up onto the elbow and then to the hand. Your bottom hand is angled out and you sink your side waist down for a side body stretch. Alternatively, you can take the Pilates mermaid pose. Good, deep breath here. And relax your arm down. Okay, so we're gonna rest on the left side. I'm gonna take you through a guided relaxation. And although I don't have extra blankets here, I want to point this out. So I mentioned that side sleep discomfort that we get. And if you think about what's happening to your hips, they're widening, but underneath your armpits at least, that part of your rib cage is the same. So you're getting this kind of this shape, and when you lay down, you get this significant flattening on the bottom side and then this deep curve on the top side, as well as all the tissues are just softer, so there's more compressive pressure inside your joints. So something that you might try is a small blanket or towel underneath your rib cage that allows your hip to kind of have a little nest to go down into, and that way you won't have such a significant flattening of the bottom and curving, scooping of the top. Okay, so resting on your left side, a yoga block is a great height for your head at home. Maybe you can just grab a cushion. Maybe you want to play with that towel underneath your ribs, but then also get something to put between not just your knees, but also your feet. And ideally, you would have heel, knee, hip at the same height, and that can decrease some of the internal hip socket pressure. And then from here, you can bring your hand to your belly if you're comfortable to do so. So I'll encourage you to stay laying down on your left side. But if you're not comfortable on your left side, you could sit up for this meditation. You could sit with your back against a wall. You could also do one of those child's poses if that felt good. So if you think about that you might be using one of those poses during labor, that might be 14 hours in a pose like that. So you can see the benefit of practicing those poses before your baby's due date, delivery date. All right, so getting comfortable in your resting position or your meditation position. Letting your eyes close. Maybe having a hand or two close to your baby on your belly. Feeling your breath in your body. And as we've moved through this practice, you can tell I'm a very mom-centric prenatal teacher. So this is your opportunity to think about energetically, emotionally attuning with your baby, to feel that relationship that's already growing. And here too, to honor all your feelings. That we don't need to deny our feelings, but that we can choose to focus on that which holds the most meaning and value and comfort. Empowering ourselves by the way we place our thoughts, feeling that we have capacity to control those thoughts to a certain degree. Allow your body and your mind and your heart to rest. Allow yourself to feel your body, feel what this practice has done for it, that maybe you feel warmer. Maybe your breath and pulse rate are still a little bit higher than they would be relaxing. So giving them time to slow down. Encouraging your muscles to soften deeper and deeper with every breath. Ultimately, yoga is about healthy relationships within ourselves and between ourselves and the world around us. The invitation of yoga is to create a sense of harmony and clarity so we can see and feel and know the full truth of things. It's about connecting to our inner wisdom. It's about honoring the mind in its full capacity, not just its seat of logic and memory. You might think of that idea of mother's intuition, our capacity for deeper insight, tapping into intelligence. And while we might have our thoughts about labor and delivery, unless we've been there, we really have no idea besides what's been shown us and told us. And what we often see and hear in the media is intimidating and dramatized. And so you might have certain feelings about your capacity in labor and delivery without ever having tested it. It might feel scary, you might feel worried, because your mind doesn't know what it's going to be like. But part of the truth of you as a woman is that your body was made for this. And while it is true that it is a harrowing experience as your body makes such a dramatic shift in its structure to give birth to your baby in a relatively short time, it's dramatic. It's amazing that that is possible. But your body was made to do it. Allow yourself to have a sense of relationship with how you feel about labor and delivery. Let yourself be honest about the feelings that you have as you're moving towards it. And then think about what we meditated on in the beginning, this idea of balanced perspective. So see if you can tap in to feeling and remembering and really cultivating those qualities that will help you move through the challenges that you might face. Maybe it's patience, maybe it's courage, maybe it's humor, maybe it's gentleness. And then allow yourself to look past the labor and delivery and think about how it's going to feel when your baby is in your arms and you're going to be able to look at each other eye to eye and kiss their sweet cheeks, feel their soft bodies, feel their warmth and their attraction to you. So let yourself have this full mix, let yourself really be in that space of full spectrum awareness. So you can take those fears and doubts out of your subconscious, that you can face them and you can find the tools that will help you manage them. And then I want to encourage you to tap back into this idea of instinct and really sit with this idea that your body was made to do this. And while it's challenging, it's beautiful that we have support people and practices if we need them, so we can have a greater sense of peace of mind when that day comes. And then also tapping into intuition. And just take a moment to let your intuition be open to what you might be needing at this time. And listen. And maybe there's nothing additional. Maybe you're doing a great job taking good care of yourself. And in that case, let yourself practice affirmation, affirming that you're doing a great job taking good care of things. And then take another moment to tap into the energy of your heart, the love that you hold for your growing baby, the love that you have for your partner, for your family. Maybe you're single at this time and you're in a challenging place. Allow yourself to tap into that energy of unconditional love, that kind of energy that can continue on even though there's been hardship. Tap into the energy of love. Send a little bit to your baby, and then send a whole lot to yourself. This is a challenging time physiologically, so give yourself that sense of affirmation, kindness, compassion. Let the energy of love flood through you, hopefully helping you to feel a little more relaxed, a little more rejuvenated. And then bring a little bit of movement back to your body. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. And stretch your arms big and full, and stretch out through your legs if you're still laying down. And then take your time and come on back up to a seat. And as you arrive back into your seat, take a moment there to really feel a sense of being grounded in your physical body. Let your pelvis relax down, try to let your legs relax down. Breathe breath into your entire abdominal region. Breathe the energy of breath into your body and down. Imagine that you're giving your baby a little extra. We call it prana in yoga. It's air and energy, the energy of life. As you press down through your pelvis, let yourself feel the natural extension of your spine upward, this sense of support for your heart and for your mind. Breathe in, reach your arms up over your head. Turn your palms outward, press out and away. Give yourself a big hug where you cross one elbow over the top of the other and curl in a little bit and give yourself a good cuddle here, opening up your back body, letting your chin relax down. Inhale, open up through the front, lean back a little bit. Exhale, big hug, other elbow crosses over, curl, hug in. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, press out and away. Bring your hands together in front of your heart, or place one hand on heart and one hand near your baby. And then we'll finish with an Om. The sound of Om is a sonic symbol of our interconnectedness. It's a reminder that we are all here for each other. And I just want to share a quick little story about Om before I leave you today. My daughter was born a month early and I did not have her pediatrician set. So she was born and she was feisty and she was screaming and crying, and this doctor that I didn't know came in to do her checkup, and he just took her so gently, bent down close and Ommed very sweetly in her ear, and immediately she calmed down. So just that reminder of little miracles can happen all the time. So just allowing our heart and mind to be open to this beautiful flow of life. All right, so we'll Om sweetly once together, breathing out through your nose back in. Full deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Bow your head to your heart and down towards your sweet baby. And that's our practice for today. I hope you're all taking good care. I hope that you have beautiful pregnancies and deliveries. If you normally practice with me at Shine, I hope I see you before then. We are offering these classes on YouTube during this COVID closure in reciprocity. So it's a take what you need and give what you can. If you'd like to make any donations to help support Shine while we're closed, you can find out how to do that on our website, which is www.shineyoga.com. All right, take good care, everyone. Namaste.